Well, hello ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we're looking at the new and improved Tiger 1200 range from Triumph. Now, this is what you might call a midlife facelift. It's not all new. This is an update to the platform that debuted in 2021. As before, there's 4 main models, and I'll do my best to explain this to you. You've got your GTs and you have your rallies. As you could probably deduce, the GTs, you're more road biased, cast wheels, which are a bit smaller, whereas the rally has wire spoked wheels with a 21-inch front hoop, so better off-road. You can have 2 grades of either flavour, Pro and Explorer. And the best way of spotting that is the Explorers have the big 30-litre fuel tank, so up to 600 kilometres of range on that one. So let's go through some of the things that are new for this 2024 model year update. Probably the biggest point is they've made a variety of changes under the hood, and the net result of that is a smoother torque delivery. Unless I rode them back to back, look, I can't really tell exactly the difference, but I can say that it has never felt so manageable at low revs. It really is. You've got a lot of grunt here, and it's always easy to just find a little bit of traction. You know, it doesn't feel like you're putting all that grunt to the ground all the time. So loving that motor. Another big change is we now have a rear ride height device. This is something that's almost becoming standard in this category. I'll talk more on that a bit later. I've got a few notes on that. There's also a lot of ergonomic changes across the bike. It's specific to each variant, but overall the changes have been made for comfort. We've got a new seat. The rider seat's flatter and the pillion seat is said to be more comfortable now. So that's part of a comprehensive ergonomic update. We've got like a longer clutch lever. The foot pegs are in different positions. With all this being to make the bike more comfortable. Along those lines, the GTs, the road biased ones, have a bit more cornering clearance. I think Triumph had some feedback that they were scraping the pegs. I mean, I think you'd have to have the thing absolutely howling to have those pegs on the ground, but there you go, you've got more clearance now. And finishing that off, we've got new colours across the range. They're sort of military, metallic khaki. I think they look really cool, and they look quite a bit different to other bikes in the category, which I think is important. As I'm sure you're aware, this bike plays in the premium big bore adventure bike category. So think BMW R1300 GS, KTM 1290 Adventure, Ducati Multistrada V4, all of which sort of have their own distinct personalities, and that's because they're all motivated by a different configuration. The BMW, of course, has a Boxer, the Ducati a V4, and unique to the Triumph is the fact that it's got a triple, and it's an engine. 110 kilowatts, 130 Newton meters. This is a lot of motorcycle. I've been riding a lot of middleweight adventure bikes recently. I fall in love with them, and then you get back on a big bore and you go, oh man, it's ridiculous. It's nobody should have that much power in their adventure bike, but we do, and I love it. One of the things that I find about the Tiger is it has such a balanced feeling, like a neutral stand on top of it. The weight feels perfectly distributed. And so it's really confidence inspiring at the bars. Again, that engine, forget about it. When you hear one in the distance, just approaching that limiter, it's something to behold, honestly. The engine really is the centerpiece of this platform, without question. It's monstrous. This is probably true of all Triumphs, I think it's fair to say, but I was particularly struck by the build quality of this bike. All the castings, the fitment, there's no cable ties, there's no, there's nothing ugly about the way this bike's put together. It feels solid, and I think it is solid. It's certainly a comfortable bike to ride. We've been riding all day. You can ride the thing to Mars. It really is a comfortable bike. It was before, but they've made some little changes, and it's certainly a really comfortable bike to be on. This bike has a ride height device, though interestingly, it's one of the few, if not the only in this category, that doesn't lower automatically. The point of these ride height devices, or active preload as they're often described, is just to make the bike more accessible. You know, they're huge, they're so tall, and for a lot of people, they're just too commanding a proposition. But the active preload or the ride height device will lower the rear end to make it easier to get on and off. But the Tiger 1200 doesn't do it automatically. It uses a button. You hold the button down and it works. It works really well and it's pretty easy. Having said that, I found that because it's a manual mechanism, I kind of just didn't bother with it, you know. So I don't know how I feel about that. Triumph says it's to do with safety. With the automatic ride height device, there could potentially be situations where you don't want the rear to lower and it could compromise the handling or something. I don't know about all that. But, you know, it's got to just be a software update. So maybe they'll change it. Maybe they'll look back at it. Some of these bikes also have a rear radar, which gives you blind spot and lane change assist. So a flashing light on your mirror to warn you of traffic. Though it doesn't have a front radar, so no active cruise control. I asked Triumph about this as well, and they said that basically the feedback was from their customers that it's just not a feature that they're overly enthused about. I only really mention it because this bike is so highly specified, and bikes in this category are so highly specified, so it's sort of one modern feature that is missing. Probably one of the weaker elements, I'd say, of this bike compared to its competitors is the wind protection. I found a bit of buffeting. However, the single-handed operation of that windscreen is just excellent. You don't need an electronic windscreen adjustment when it's that easy. It's one less thing to break, you know? Also, I just think they've knocked it out of the park with the looks. It's got this like tough, aggressive stance, which sort of fits the character of the bike when you're sitting on it. You can't help let it kind of get to you. It's a bike where you furrow your brow and you white knuckle a bit. Even though you're comfortable, it brings something out in me. It's certainly a distinct flavour in a category where there's not a dud motorcycle. It's high-end stuff. It's the title fight. And as before, the Tiger 1200 is a very worthy combatant. So Triumph hasn't reinvented the wheel, but rather make their flagship adventure bike just that little bit sharper. I love riding it. I think you will too.